I think we can understand a lot more about life when we understand why things work the way that they do. I want to talk today about the relation between corporatism and modern men as a whole. You guys will by now know I've made a lot of videos on the topic of modern men, because as a young man who's living in the modern age, I suppose it does relate to me too. But there's a lot of things that I see in young men. There's a big divide that I see, and a lot of people who are my age will see it too. There's a lot of young men that are not achieved, do not feel happy, and are not successful. Now, obviously, every single person's individual, every single case is unique, so it's hard to give a generalized view as to why this might be. But again, I think when you understand why things work the way they do, they might make a bit more sense. From experience, right? From experience, genuinely my experience, it's my belief that society basically revolves around money. Everything's about money. Think about it, subscriptions, sales for items that you don't necessarily need, all these sorts of things. We're told to consume, consume, consume. And obviously, there is an element of perhaps importance to this, to therefore fit into society, right? Because money is so much, having money proves that you are a someone in some sort of a way. And I think that's a bit of context for what I'm going to discuss in a minute. But first, let's have a talk about what most modern men's life is like, right? Not necessarily most, but a lot. The ones that at least struggle and feel bad. They may not have a job or ambitions. They may not have a career or a path to success. They may not have a car. They may not have a house. They may not have friends and a long-term partner. Now that's really quite an unfortunate position to find yourself in, because you don't really have anything. But let's talk about why this might be. Because what we're sold in today's day and age is an image and a perception that we need to have money to be liked, to be someone in society, right? It's all about what car you've got. It's all about what place you live in, where you go, where you're on holiday. And I'm not going to lie, right? Hard work pays off. There's always going to be someone in the comments who says, well, you should just work hard. Look, I'm not even talking about me, right? Because my life's okay. But what I'm saying is this. Because everything revolves around money, a lot of guys chase it so very desperately. So very desperately. And when I say chase it, look, we all chase money to a point because we want a free life, we want a better life, we want an easier life. So it makes sense. But we chase it, or at least I follow money in a way, because I know that it will benefit my life in these ways. Now, I've spoken about this topic in the past as well. A lot of young men, I think, believe that getting money will be the solution to all of their social incompetences, to all of their lack of romantic connections and meaningful friendships. And it won't be, right? It might make people like you for the stuff that you have, but it will not make you more liked overall by the people who you genuinely want to form a connection with. I think another fact is that so much stuff now is just so expensive, right? If you want to own your own place, or even rent your own place, and have a car as well, you're working long hours, right? Long hours. So obviously there's reasons behind why things are so expensive and that sort of stuff. We've spoken about that before. But what that means is you're always going to be in work because you're trying to be a someone, which is fine, right? But it's fine up until the point where you realise that this then massively reduces your free time. So you're already working in a very corporate environment to chase money. That's fine if that's what you want to do. But for a lot of people, it's not. They don't look for escapes, and I've spoken about that in the past, but that's a different topic. So they find themselves in a position where they're always at work, right? And when you're always at work, you'll be tired afterwards. So then when you think about making friends that are not at work, and especially when you think about dating prospects, where are they going to be? Well, they're in a very difficult position, right? Because, again, you're probably not having the time to go out there and talk to people and meet people. And also, for a lot of young people, their social skills are that tired and hurt. In fact, no, I wouldn't say tired. They've not even been discovered, really, to the point where they can't talk to people like that. So, even if they're not working these long hours, they like to do things in the way that they see familiar. Now, it's always been my belief that you've got to push the barriers, right? If you're uncomfortable in something, you've arguably got to do it more, as long as it's beneficial. So the answer I would say is to talk to people more, whether it's trying to make friends, whether it's trying to get a relationship or something like that. You need to talk to people more. But that's not what a lot of people do now. All of the answers are found on the internet. And especially and specifically when it comes to the dating market, it has actually become a market. Because what happens? Internet, these apps, and these are very expensive. And they're expensive because they can be, right? If someone, it's a very unfortunate position that people find themselves in, but if someone is basically deeply desiring love and connection, and they, for whatever reason, don't feel like they can achieve that in the real world, and they think that this app's going to give them a chance of that, they will pay a fortune, and they do. And that's the first time in history, right, where, if you think about it, in the modern times, where you, I wouldn't say have to, because I have never really, I've never really used dating apps, so I don't think it's a necessity at all, if you've got any level of confidence and charisma. But what I'm saying is this: because they think it's their excuse, they treat it like it is. And what that means is that these expensive apps are another great way for them to find an excuse, right? You know, oh, well, I need to have this app to have a competitive advantage in the dating market. You don't, but I see where they're coming from in that belief, because it's marketed to them that way. So it's another thing that's marketed to the idea that that's what's going to free you. But let's be honest, right? Look, just Google it now. Google the ratio of men to women on Tinder, and also the sort of people in that who are on these sites. It's hard to make a connection with them, let's be honest. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it is going to be more difficult than being a real person in real life. So corporatization has sold guys an image that they need to have this app to have any chance of dating, which anyone who's lived in the real world will know is not true, I think. But that's just my experience. So that's part of the issue. Again, a lot of guys then find themselves working very long hours as well, for a lifestyle that is not fulfilling them, in the sense that they're not seeing themselves move forwards. Because wages for a lot of people, because they're not looking for escape routes, right? I talk about making money online on my Patreon, you know this, link in the bio. A lot of people are not looking for escapes like that to make money and to basically quit their jobs. So therefore, they're always in work. And again, when corporatization is pushed to this point, people, specifically young men, I think, because these are the people who I see who believe this the most, believe that getting 100k or whatever car or whatever is going to make them desirable to friends, to maybe you'll impress family members, but to women. And it's like, I've said this before in detail on each specific point. This is not how life works, right? If you want money, get money because you want money. If you want muscle, get money because you want muscle. When you chase things because you think it's what other people will like, you'll be in a position where you either will get a shock, in the sense that you may find that, oh, actually, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. Or, what might be worse is, you might find yourself that you do get to that place, and that people do start to like you more, but then you realise that it wasn't worth it, because these people don't like you for who you are. And also, you had to work so hard to win these people round, you now feel like you're an outsider. Now, what I'm saying is not that you should stop working. I'm not saying that you should stop working. I'm not saying that you should not make money. I'm not saying that you should not have any ambition. But young men's lives are being ruined for the sakes of companies. And what I mean by that is they're being exploited by dating apps, believing that it's going to give them the best opportunities in the dating market, which it's probably not, let's not lie, for a few of the reasons that I've outlined. They believe that they need to own all of this stuff to have any ideal of being successful. And how does that ruin people's lives, right? Well, you could argue that them working so very long, not to save money, not to invest, but to put money into liabilities, risky cars that can depreciate and also break down, that's a risk. Other things that people finance and waste money on, like expensive clothes, you can't say it's an investment, right? So it's ruining their lives in two ways. They feel like they need to have money to have any sort of social connection, and especially romantic connection, which is a real shame. And in the second way, they're chasing a lifestyle that's not going to be long-term beneficial. Like I say, if people want to work very long hours, that's good, right? Possibly. It could mean that they're earning a lot more money, building a future, but you've got to be doing that. Because if it's going every month into a car that's not rising in value, you're losing money, right? You're just wasting money. And then you'll find yourself, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think you'll find yourself a shell and a slave to the stuff that you own. Because you have to work towards it all the time. You're told that you can't do anything without all this stuff, and you don't know how it feels to be authentic. And of course, young men especially, two things. Number one, they are the strongest physically, right? I think that's almost undeniable. Young men will be stronger than old men, unless maybe people have trained in the gym for 20 years. But these are rare exceptions, right? And I know these are always the things that people bring up in the comment section, which is why I say it in that way. But what I mean is this. 90% of young men are stronger than their older counterparts, right? We can agree on that. They can work longer. They can exercise more, right? I think everyone can agree on this. But they're also more impressionable. So what does that mean then? It means that you have very strong and active, or potentially active people who are very easy to influence. And that works great for companies if you think about it. Because they can just, if they're just using people as units of labour in corporatisation, sell people a lifestyle, right? Sell people a lifestyle and they'll work towards it. Because most people, especially a lot of young men now, do not understand how it feels to have social value. Full stop, right? It's a real shame. I've been lucky. I don't know if I've been lucky or I don't know if I've just worked hard on it. And it's one of them things, I don't care what people say about money or anything. Being socially okay is fine. Work on your confidence. Try to look better. So then you won't have any of these issues. But what I'm saying is this, so many young men don't know how it feels to feel good just for the sake of feeling good, look good just for the sake of looking good, be appreciated by friends, family, girls, just because of who you are. And because of that, they're looking to get that feeling. And corporatization sells them the image of that. If you get this car, then you'll have this appeal. If you buy this shirt or this product, you'll be seen as this. If you work this job, then you'll be whatever. And especially the dating apps, man, they're so expensive. And like I say, they don't really work. Not to the point, not to the extent that they should for the price. So what I'm saying is this. There's a lot of value in advancing your life. I'm not saying that anyone should sit still just because society's lied to them. Work harder if you want to. Build more businesses. Build more income. Buy that new car. But understand that you are the prime target, me as well, right? To be marketed towards. And you can be sold in a lifestyle. And a lot of guys who have not reached that level of self-actualization, they will get to a point where they think it's what they need to be someone. And what's going to happen when that happens? You're going to be willing to spend everything in your arsenal. Your time, your skills, your money, to fit in, to be someone. So I think that's how corporatization has ruined a lot of guys' lives. Right? They're told to work forever, for the wrong reasons, which leads to them buying liabilities, which leads to them being poor and needing to work more. They're told that to be anyone they need to have this and that and live here and all these sorts of things, which is simply not true. And nobody gives a proper guidance anymore of, look, if you want to have more friends, if you want to get the attention of girls, take better care of yourself. Act better. Be more respectful. Achieve something in your life, not to impress other people, because people can sense out those needy, attention-seeking people, and people don't like them. So what you need to be is someone who's doing your thing for the right thing. I'm not saying that people shouldn't work hard. I'm not saying that corporatization is necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it's a great thing overall when corporate culture intertwines with culture. But what I will say is this. If you want to work long, long hours, you will get richer if you invest. You will get poorer if you waste it. If you want to do that as well, do it for your life mission. That's much more attractive, right? Someone who's achieved because they want to be, not because they feel like they have to compete with. Come on. So keep working hard, keep being ambitious, and keep being driven. But do understand that certain things are sold to us, I think, for a reason. We're told that we need certain things that we just don't. Again, the big one that I explained was dating apps. They're just very expensive for low results. And try and make something of yourself in the real world, and everything that you do it for the right reasons. Make sure that you're making actual advancements so that when you are a little bit older, you'll be able to look back with things that are of value. You'll be able to enjoy your life. And again, if we're talking on the dating scene specifically, because I've gathered from a few of the comment sections, it seems to be what a lot of guys struggle with the most. So if we're talking on that, look, when you do meet that person, having the extra money, the extra time, the extra knowledge will be very valuable. Try and gain that now, and it'll be better for you in the long term. But do everything for the right reasons, and make sure you're aware of what you're doing and why. Because corporatisation will have you working long hours for little rewards, and they will want you to then go and spend that money so that A, companies make even more profits, and B, you have to work even more. Society appears to be set up in a way that values money so much that people will have you working blindly for it. People will do basically anything to take it from you as well. And you've got to be aware that this is unfortunate, but it is a market that we appear to be in. Do things for the right reasons. I know I've said this about 3 or 4 times now, but it's so true. And think about what it is that you do. That's all I can really say on this topic. I just think it's a bit of a shame that so many guys are being led down a lifestyle that may be beneficial for them if they're doing it for the right reasons, but because they're not, they'll never achieve in it, or they'll never feel good in it. Anyway, that's all I can say about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.